Oh, wait a minute. I didn't think it recorded first period, so I changed the microphone. So let me change the microphone back. Here we go.
All right, so what was the question?
How is it, the long box that you just have is 3?
Yeah.
How come you want to count the top as 1 when the box, like the X is the long box?
Because the short side is along this edge. So that's 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units. If I had them turned the other way, it would have been X.
So what's the point of...
Okay, so let's look at this. Let's look at what we're supposed to do. This is an incomplete square. Do you agree? Okay, but what do the directions ask us to do? It's asking us to what? Complete the square. So yeah, it's incomplete. What do I have to do to complete it? What do you think I have to do? 1, 2, 3. Is that complete? 4, 5. Is this complete? 6, 7. I'm not doing a very good job, but you get the idea. 8, 9. Is that complete now? Okay, so let's look at this. What did we just do? We started with x squared. We started with 6x's. What did it take to complete the square? 9 single units. Somebody had a hand up. Uh-huh. So, what did we just do? We completed the square. How does this factor? X plus 3 times x plus 3. Or x plus 3 what? Squared. All right? Oh my gosh, look at this. What is that? Look at that. What is that? Yes. What x? Oh, but I have plus 3 here because that's 1 unit, and that's 1 unit, and that's 1 unit. However, this whole rectangle is x. You can't see that. Let me find the yellow pen. I can use the yellow pen. This is x, and 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 that's 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So I've got my x squared, I've got my 6x's, and I got my 9. It just so happens that the part of the x that is up here is the 1 part, not I don't have the x part along there. Sydney.
In the book, it says that you take it over.
Okay, right now I don't want to go there. Okay? I want you to understand the concept of completing the square before we go to the book. Then can I entertain that question? Okay, so put that on hold. So now what I have is I have absolutely no tools because this is a new notebook, new software, and it's not here. So what I need to do, all right, is I need to take these pieces and I need to put them in my content. All right, what happened to my x squared? Is that my x squared or my 1? Is that my x squared? So I haven't done a 1. All right, so here we go. What do I need to start with? X squared and what? Okay, so we're not going to worry about our subtraction signs. That's for another day. How many x's did I need? 2. Okay, so this is what I'm beginning with. I've got my x squared. Now, how am I going to put these x's to start to form a square? 1 on, so I'm taking my 2 x's and splitting them into 2 groups, right? 2 groups of 1 in this case. All right, so the question is, what's required to complete the square? 1. So I think this is my little single one. Oh, no, sorry, that's too big. So it's this one. So to complete the square, what do I need? 1. So in order to complete the square, I would have to add 1. When we complete the square, we're making this a perfect square. This is length x. This is length 1. This is length x. This is length 1. Well, it is a minus. And I believe, I'm not sure what we do with the minuses. I think we come up here. Yeah, but I mean, we're going to change it to plus for my example because then we can just use out what we discover for the minuses. So I change that to plus. All right, so that factors into x plus 1 times x plus 1, or x plus 1 squared. Perfect square. All right, so now what do I need? I need an x squared. And what else do I need? We added 1. To complete the square, we added 1. We need 4 long ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So now I start with my x squared. I have 4 of these. What do I do with these 4? Am I going to keep them together? I separate them into what? 2 equal groups, correct? Because I don't want to put 3 up here, do I? Because if I put 3 up here and 1 down here, is it going to be a square? No, it's not going to be a square. It's going to be a rectangle. So I have to take my 4 and split them into 2 equal groups. All right, so now how many do I need? What is this length? 2. What is this length? And I need how many? What's the relationship between 2 and 4? Okay, let's go back. What was how many did I need here? That's 3, and this is what? 3, and how many did I added 9. What's the relationship between 3 and 9? It's squared. What's the relationship between 2 and 4? It's squared. All right. So we've got, what did you tell me, 4? All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3. Did I complete it? Okay, so I started with x squared plus 4x, and what did I do? I added 4. That's how I completed the square. How does this factor? X plus 2, x plus 2. Does this picture show that? X plus 2, and we've got x plus 2. Pretty cool, isn't it? Completing the square. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use completing the square to solve an equation. So if I have x squared plus 8x, what do I have to do to these 8x's? Split them. In other words, what I have to do is I have to split them into 2 what? So I have to take half of 8, correct? And what is that? So that means 4 go up here, 4 go down there. Okay, now that's not what I'm going to be adding. I don't add 4. I'm going to add 16. So I take half of 8, I get 4, and then I square the 4, correct? That's how you complete the square without drawing the picture. So when you're going to complete the square, you move the variables to one side, and the constants must be moved to the other side of the equation. So in this case, step 1, what would I have to do? I would have to subtract 3. So let me try to number this for you all. Step 1, I would say x squared minus 8x equals negative 3. Notice my gap. Now what do? We take half of the coefficient of the x term. I have 8 x's. How many do I need to go across here and down here? 4. So we take half of the middle term. So here's step 2. Oh, here is step 2. So if I take half of 8, and then what do? Square it. So I take half of 8 and I square it, which we said was 4 squared, which was what? All right. If I add 16 here, but you know what? I'm going out of order. So I did that, correct? So I think what I'm going to choose to do, I'll show you. It's just in the factoring. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to clone this, which is easy, and I'll clone this. So I'm going to bring this down because this is all parts of step 2, correct? Come on, move. Okay, so I want to erase that. Get rid of that, get rid of that. All right, you see what I have so far? So now it says, if I add it here, if I add to one side of the equation, I must. Guess what's the most missed part of these questions? Everybody forgets this part. All right. So now that we have that, the square is complete. What's my next step? Step 3. I have to do what? Factor. That's where the minus comes in. How does this factor? And x minus 4, and this is 13. Agreed? Now we're going to solve using the square root method that I think you all did very well on last night's homework. So now we're going to say x minus 4 quantity squared equals 13. Notice I didn't FOIL it. Square root both sides. How many answers do you get? 2 plus or minus square root of 13. So what is x? This is a subtraction sign. So now when I move 4 to the other side, what does it look like? Square root of 13. This is in complete the square method. By the way, this is in this course, and you will see it again in the next course. All right, so if we look at this, now I've hidden the directions from you. What's the first step? So we've got x squared plus 12x is equal to 13 again. Now what? We divide 12 by 2 and square it. And that is 36. So I add 36 on this side, and this was also 36. How do you factor this? And that's going to be equals 49. Now, that's a 6. What did we square to get 36? 6. So if I erase this half of 12 squared and just put 36, if things get to be a little bit more complicated, how do we work with this number to get those numbers? Exactly. That was an important piece of information. All right, so now what are we going to do? We square root the left, we square root the right, and how many answers do we get? 2. X plus 6 equals positive and negative 7. Now what do we do? X plus 6 equals positive 7. X plus 6 equals negative 7. Now we subtract 6 because we're going to get different answers on each side. That's why we had to separate. X equals 1. X equals negative 13. Okay? Well, what happens when you have an odd baby in the middle? There is an odd baby right there. Okay? So what do you do first? We're not, oh yeah. So I'm going to move this over here. So I take my 3, I divide by 2, and do what? Square it. Now what is 3/2 squared? That is 9 over 4. So if I have x squared plus 3x plus 9 over 4 equals, if I multiply by 4, do you agree that's 64? I'll have 64 plus 9 over 4. How do you factor? You just told me how to do it. 3 over 2 plus, because what do you do to this number to get the factor? Square root. Now notice, do you see how I left it that way? Do you see that number? If you don't, do you see it? See it? You don't even have to think if you leave it in that form. However, you do need it 9/4 on that side. I think that's going to be 73/4. Do you agree? So you've got x plus 3/2 squared is equal to 73/4. Does SPC expect you to be able to do the odds? Yeah. But they expect you to do something else that I had to teach during exam week. So I'm going to teach it to you now. So now what do we do?
Square root.
So that means we have x plus 3/2 is equal to a positive, negative. Does any one of these square root?
Yeah. 4.
X plus 3/2 is equal to plus or minus square root of 73/2, correct? Where did I get the 2? I square rooted the 4. Now, what are you going to do? Subtract your 3/2, and you're going to have plus or minus the square root of 73/2. Did the visual help?
Yeah. I'm actually kind of confused with it. I was so confused as to what everything actually grasp the concept of it, just knowing like numbers. I still don't really understand. I mean, it kind of helped. I understand this for the actual.
Okay. Sydney?
Yeah. November20
Has a number in front of x squared. And that's what I didn't teach last year that I had to teach in exam week. So here we go. Suppose I have 4x squared minus 8x plus, I don't know, 12 is equal to 16. We cannot complete the square unless the coefficient of x squared is 1x squared. This is a 4. So what are we going to do? Literally divide everything by 4. So you've got x squared minus 2x plus 3 is equal to 4. So we'll say x squared minus 2x equals what? 1. Now, what's half of 2? 1 squared is? So if I do it to that side, I must do it to this side. This factors into minus 1 squared equals what? 2. So we're going to have x minus 1 is plus or minus square root of 2, or x equals what?
1 plus 2.
So do you all know what to do with the 4? Or a 3, or a 5, or a 6, or whatever? All right. So if it doesn't divide evenly, then you leave it in a fraction. And I won't do that to you, I don't think. If I do, suppose the middle term was 3/2. How do you take half of 3/2? Multiply by a half. What is that? 3/4. So then I would be adding 3/4 squared to both sides. You with me? Okay. So let me amend this homework. You have to do A56, but you also have to do what? The rest of A55. A56 plus rest of A55. So you've got a worksheet. So that means A55, there was like 24 through 28 or 24 through 32 or something. You got to finish the bookwork on this assignment and do my worksheet. I do believe, look, I do believe that A56 is just a worksheet. Am I right? No, you don't have